Grand Rising family, my on Rahu. Welcome back to the channel. All right, on Rahu is actually Ohanru, but it is family in the Meta nature, right? Which is one of our ancestors' ancient language from Kemet. So, Demudus Tanido on Rahu means Grand Rising family. We are, hold on you guys see I'm driving, so I'm trying to get into a comfortable position here because we are talking about the babies today. We're talking about the kids, and we are talking about involving the babies in our spirituality. And we are talking about basically how to involve them so that they get an understanding of what we are dealing with here, right? And I want to touch on the fact that the reason why I'm speaking on this is because I understand it, because I'm going through it and I've experienced it. So anytime I tell you guys something, it's not based on the fact that I don't know. It's because I've lived it. I've been through it, right? Okay. So now that we got that out the way, let's talk about the babies, and let's talk about spirituality and our children. Let's talk about how do we incorporate our children in our transition, right? And for me, I have an 8-year-old daughter. You guys know Kennedy. You know, I put her more so on my Instagram than I do anything. But Kennedy is beyond her time, you know, when it comes to spirituality and crystals and understanding connection with spirit and divination and things like that. You will be surprised how connected our children are, especially for us who are stepping into our power and we're stepping into understanding exactly what it means to be spiritual. You will see that your children will really help to develop your third eye vision and really seeing things past, you know, our current 3D dimension. What I mean by that is that, you know, we teach our children like sponges. You know, they look to us, their parents, their guardians, their you know, their teachers, their supporters, their love, the way that we love our children, how we provide for our kids, etc. They look to us for the water, okay? The water to soak up, to be infused into them as a sponge, right? So they soak up everything that we tell them, whether it's good, whether it's bad. You know, we influence our children early from the womb. Even if it means like programming a child to sleep a certain way and things like that, you can do that. Children are sponges. They need us in order to survive. So with that being said, when you're stepping into this awakening and you're stepping into the spirituality, my advice would be to take your children with you. And I don't mean take your children with you in the aspect of doing rituals with your children and things like that, because obviously we want to keep our kids innocent in the magic, because, you know, there comes a time when they may step into their powers one day, and, you know, we want them to be able to, you know, learn by experience and not necessarily learning by what we're doing. But allow them to go to the crystal shop with you. You know, allow them to, you know, go to lectures about, you know, magical things and, you know, whatever you are doing as far as spirituality. Allow them to be in your sister groups. You know, but there's certain things obviously that are child appropriate, you know. And so what I would say is, you always want to practice, white magic around children. I would not do dark magic around children. Also, yoni eggs and things like that for little girls are an absolute no-no. Okay, yoni eggs are for women who are childbearing. Okay, who have already had sex, who are sexually active. Those are the only times you want to ever include a daughter in such acts. Okay, children necessarily don't. Ashe, there's 444. Children don't necessarily need like sacral and womb healing, so to say. Now, if you have a child who has been sexually abused, and you're aware of it, and you know that it has traumatized the child, let's say maybe they're a teenager or something like that, there's levels to this shift. Okay, and you have to use your discernment. You have to use Ashe 555. You have to use your level of discernment and your third eye and your intuition, right, to gauge what is going to be appropriate, or how your child is going to receive that information. So with me and my situation, okay, my daughter was originally raised Christian. You guys know I no longer associate myself with the Christian doctrine, nor do I associate myself with Christianity. Okay, my family is very aware of it. There's no hiding here from me. But at the end of the day, my daughter's father is a pastor for a Pentecostal church, and he is, hardcore Christian. Now, at the end of the day, we don't raise our child together. He has remarried and has since gone on to have 2 other children after my daughter, which is fine. I mean, we all move on and we live our lives. But you have to understand the conflict in which that situation can create, because if you have one parent that believes one thing and you have another parent that believes another thing, that's why, we shouldn't be having children out of what they call wedlock, or out of, the lock of two parentals being the key to that child's life. That is why, that's a whole nother subject for a whole nother day when it comes to single parenting, especially amongst the Black community. But my point is that, we must include our children to a capacity within our spiritual walk. All right. We cannot just leave them in the dark when it comes to waking up and enlightening. The point of this is that we are shifting for the future. We are shifting for our children to be greater in the future, so that they can be a higher version of themselves, so that they can be confident in who they are as a higher being, as their higher being. Okay, so teaching your children, I wouldn't do altar work or any ancestral altar work with your children. I would say that's a no-no, because if they try to do things on their own and you're not around, they could be messing with spirits and they don't understand, and it could just be a whole catastrophe. But what I will say is that, practicing yoga with your child is definitely a thumbs up with me. Going crystal shopping, meditation. Kennedy loves to meditate. So, meditation, and just really talking to your children about your beliefs, and what you do believe and why you believe what you believe, and just being honest with them. Our children need us to be honest with them. They need us to be open with them. My parents were not open and honest with me on a lot of things as a child growing up. And so a lot of things I look to outside sources in order to, help fulfill that void. And that's something that we don't want our children to do, especially when it comes to spirituality. I don't want Kennedy going out here because she doesn't understand something that I explained, and she's asking someone else, and that person is not using their discernment for the betterment of my child. You know what I mean? So that is what I mean by, including your children in your shift. If you want to include them in the whole vegan movement and eating better, which I totally agree with, the meat and things like that, do it. If I give Kennedy spiritual baths all the time to cleanse her aura, because children come in contact with other kids and other entities at school. So I will definitely give Kennedy a spiritual bath. There's definitely levels of yes to spiritual involvement with your children, and there's also levels of no to involve your children in spiritual in spiritual, in your spiritual walk. That's really all I wanted to say on this. I really just, I had the thought in my head, like, oh, we're missing the babies. We're missing the babies. And, a lot of what we're doing is we're healing ourselves in order to heal our future. And of course, to heal our blood lineage. But, we have to think about living in the present, and living in the present means including our children in a lot of the aspects of, things that we do when it comes to spirituality. But it also means that we have to filter some things as well. Again, when I do my altar work with my divine parents, I do not include Kennedy, in that. She's not even there. She's at school when I do my altar work. When I'm doing my tarot readings, and I'm doing it with a client, Kennedy won't be around. Because, at the end of the day, I would love for Kennedy, once she gets older, 12, 13, if she wants to start reading, tarot, she definitely can. But, children don't understand things, and they will do things, to doll babies and stuff that they see you doing. They may try to set up their own altar or something because they see, again, these children our kids are sponges. Everything that you do, your child is going to do. Monkey see, monkey do. That is what a child is going to do. They're going to do exactly what their parents do because that's all they know. That's all they understand, and they look to us for guidance. So we have to guide them in the right direction. Of course, again, using our intuition, using your third eye, using your discernment, and really being able to focus in on what that child needs at the moment. I definitely recommend doing Reiki on kids. Kids love Reiki. Kennedy loves when I do Reiki on her. She can feel the energy. I can see as her body moves. I know that she's, receiving that energy and it's going through her. So, making sure obviously that you're practicing with divine love and light, and using your white magic. I always recommend using white magic around children. I don't recommend doing any type of if you're working with demons, or if you're working with darker entities and things like that, to fulfill Ashe 555, to fulfill your yin and your yang, and your polarity and your duality and balance. I definitely do not recommend that you include your children in any of your dark magic practices. But white magic all day, yes. Again, your angelic healing, you can definitely instilling your children, how to call on certain deities that will assist them throughout their daily lives. You encourage your children to communicate with their spirit team, their angel team, and ask questions of your children. Make sure that they gain full understanding of what they are dealing with, and the things that, they may see that you're doing as well. So, it's all relative. It is all relative, and just like any other thing in life, you want to make sure it's safe. You want to do the same thing. Sorry, you guys. You want to do the same thing with your child. You want to make sure that, what they're feeling is the right feelings, that it's healthy feelings. And when it comes to dealing with other parents and their beliefs, I would definitely say, coming together on a common ground is good, because it never hurt a child to learn Christianity. It never hurt a child to learn, Islam. But it's also a balance. You guys have to remember that there is something called balance. And, we have to make sure that we are, in fact, balancing out our children, balancing out their beliefs, balancing out their lives as a whole, and, making sure that we are including healthy practices so that, there will be no harm put on them. Because spirit will manipulate children. Spirits can and will try to frighten children, because children are very pure, and, they're essentially weak-minded, and, they need us in order to be their rock, to be their support. So please remember that. Please don't be out here thinking that, spirits won't fuck with kids, because they will. All right? They will. Ancestors will fuck with kids. If your ancestors were savage in the life, if you have an ancestor that was a pedophile or that raped children, don't think that entity is not going to fuck with your kids. That's what I'm telling you. So we got to be open and honest with ourselves that, spiritual attacks on kids can happen and will happen if you're not practicing safe, and you're not practicing things within divine love and light. So, you know, if you are shifting, if you're becoming enlightened, and you know you're not quite ready to have your children step into that lifestyle with you, that is okay. But don't be out here confusing these babies. Don't be out here giving them misinformation. Don't be out here misguiding them if you in fact don't understand where you are going forward. So with that being said, you guys, I'm gonna end the video here. I love you guys so much. Welcome to all my new subscribers. Welcome to all those that are just coming onto this video, or maybe you just subscribed and you are trying to gain an understanding of the channel and what I am about and what we are about on Divine Chakras. But we are all about enlightening and, you know, bringing people to understanding their higher selves, understanding their power, and really taking back our lives when it comes to just overall religion and overall ideologies and, you know, brainwashing tactics that have been done on us for decades, right? So just make sure you practice with peace, love, and light and understanding and divinity, and all will be well. All will be well. You'll have nothing to worry about. All right? I'm going to end it here, you guys. I just pulled up to my assignment. So I love you guys so much. Thanks for watching, and I will check you in the next video. Peace.